Good morning, everyone. Today is Friday, the 4th of October, and thank you for tuning in and watching this update on my What Would Jesus Do border mission trip. Yesterday, myself and the rest of the St. James group, we went down to the Federal Courthouse here in Tucson, where we went to the what's known as the Operation Streamline. Operation Streamline, you can look this up on Google, but it's a federal plan it was enacted somewhere around 2005 with the primary goal of prosecuting the drug runners. Those are the people that come over, that cross the border bringing drugs into the United States. And it basically happens all along the southern border, California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Those are where the main courts are when they would catch the drug dealers bringing the drugs in. But under the Trump administration, this was expanded to also include immigrants and refugees as they cross over the southern border to catch them and to quickly prosecute them, and now actually even the asylum seekers, send them back. So that's what Operation Streamline is. So it's a really quick process. I will add that from what we saw, everyone that came through was represented by an attorney, although those attorneys seemed to represent multiple people during that process. There were groups of 10 men and women, and they were brought in groups of 10, and all the men were in shackles with their hands and their feet. Several of the women were not shackled, and these appeared to be mostly pregnant women. So it was actually nice to see that they were being somewhat gentle to the ladies and not shackling those that were pregnant. What else did I see? It was rather heart-wrenching. What I noticed when the refugees were being brought in, they were not allowed to bathe or clean up or even put on fresh clothing. So they were wearing the same clothes they had been wearing potentially for weeks as they were, and possibly even months, as they were making that migration up from their country of origin, which since they're looking for asylum in the U.S., probably from El Salvador, from Guatemala, from Honduras, and most, to me, and I don't mean this to be a racist statement, but they look to be of indigenous tribes. My research tells me that what's happening in a lot of these countries is these indigenous people are losing their land, losing their farms, not able to work. They're under racial attack, so from the people in their own country, and are being forced to flee. And they're fleeing, and they're making that migration north, hoping for asylum here in the U.S., but sadly, we're turning them away. And if they feel so desperate, they then cross the border over, and where they're caught by its border patrol. I guess one thing that I did really notice, aside from several pregnant women, was the smell. That smell, I think I might have mentioned this, but that really stark smell of people that have not showered or bathed or been able to change their clothes. I noticed that, and that was actually quite sad, and almost dehumanizing, not allowing people to clean up, freshen up before they appear before a judge. The faces were mostly sad and somewhat ashamed when they walked in the door. The judge herself seemed to be somewhat compassionate. She spoke to each one individually. She was not harsh. She had somewhat of a kind voice, and I guess we could say she was doing her job under the legal system as it is today. Yeah, like I say, it was a rather heart-wrenching. I did sleep here last night at the Airbnb in Tucson with the rest of the group, because we went to dinner last night to debrief, and then also for some prayer time and discussions about how our day went, etc. Today we're off. We have more activities planned for today. I'll post that tomorrow so you can see what we did today, along with some photographs from today's stuff that we did. I've also asked each person if they would like, they too can sit behind this camera and share their stories, what they've experienced during their time here in the desert. So those will come as well soon. Well, until my next update, this is Chuck, and I wish you peace.